live, boys.
Welcome back to episode 10 of the Questioning Hour. At Freak Mode Media, I'm your host, Maximus Direction. Over here,
Matt DeFiore,
comedy superstar,
And Andrew Potter.
producer, director extraordinaire, writer.
handsome guy.
I'm still here for some reason. Yeah.
We've yet to kick you off your own podcast.
My own backyard.
Yeah.
Right. Well, this is not my podcast. This is Nick's podcast.
Oh, okay.
But
This was,
Well, you
this
told
was-
me about it, so
Yeah, this was principally his idea.
yeah. It's our podcast.
Yeah,
Collective.
It's a collective child. No?
Yeah.
we're still doing it.
Yep. They haven't kicked us out of Texas yet.
It is funny. I mean, this should be. I know this is episode 10, so that would imply 10 weeks, but we skipped a week. So, I think really we've probably been doing this for like 3 months now. Which is
Yeah.
pretty wild.
We did that 1 week in the Cayman Islands.
Yes.
1 week in China, which you guys paid
Yes,
for.
yes.
That was
Chernobyl.
a delight. Chernobyl, that's right.
Yeah.
all
Why
our
are my insides itchy?
constituents-
Yeah.
We'll never know.
We had a picnic buffet on top of the Elephant's Foot in Chernobyl.
Yep.
And we dropped some DMT and communed with the gods. Right?
Makes sense because I don't remember any of this.
And now I'm an atheist, bro. I took some DMT and it expanded my shit.
But now we've got DJT in office, and it's so good.
Yeah, what's he up to? Anybody know?
Signing stuff,
Signing things.
as far as I can tell. What did he do with those 60,000 kids he found in a stadium?
Apparently, he found him according to the Jones.
Okay.
Yeah. So something.
Where were they?
There's progress being made right now with the kids. Yeah, I don't know. I'm at the point now where I'm just sort of reading Alex Jones headlines instead of consuming 4 hours of his content.
Okay.
Yeah.
I find that I'm a happier person if I do it that way.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably a psyop, yeah? He's supposed to make you feel deranged.
He's doing
I
a
don't
great
think
job.
so. I think he's just autistic, and so he's just wants to tell the truth, which is admirable, and I think that's why I appreciate him. But yes, autistic people do sort of make me angsty a little bit.
My,
Let's deal with the autistic person.
it was funny, my nephew the other day was trying to say autistic, but he was saying optimistic instead. It's like, Dad, I'm pretty sure that kid's optimistic. We're like, great for him, So, Alex Jones, I don't think I would say is optimistic, though.
No, he's a pessimist.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Certainly seems a bit black-pilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You see those videos of him exercising and drinking vodka? He's doing a bench press.
No, but he looks good now. I know that.
really, yeah.
Well, he's always been athletic. He's just been fat.
Yeah.
But he's obviously
Athletic.
like a strong fat.
Yeah.
Because fat people are stronger than skinny people because they
Yeah.
have to be to hold up their frame, right?
That's a good point.
And you can be totally jacked and then just build a bunch of fat over it, but you're still jacked. I've seen fat people do what do they call it, cartwheels and shit like that.
Lift up houses.
Backflips.
Yeah. There's a cardboard box of homeless person with him in there, but he lifted it up. That's lifting a house.
Right.
Raise the roof. Am I right? No, it's funny that police forces and military, they're all obsessed with being slim and fit, fitness.
Yeah.
Has been the big push of the 21st century, but the generals that won World War II were fat as shit. Cigar chomping fatzos, basically.
Well, they're no longer with us, so how'd that work out?
It worked out pretty well. I mean,
Oh, okay.
they beat the Axis, didn't they?
We think.
We allegedly beat the Axis. We haven't confirmed.
I'm gonna go over there, and I'm gonna find out what happened to the Axis. Angela Merkel, please tell me, where did they go? What did you do?
Should we talk about Merkel?
I don't know
Sure.
anything about Merkel. What is that?
Merkel, Angela Merkel. She's
Steve
she
Merkel?
She was the Chancellor of Germany. I don't know if she still is.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. That might have been the last time I paid attention to Germany. Could have been years since she's been there, but
Well, she was just a hideous, awful person.
yikes, R.I.P. Angela.
Yeah.
She's still alive.
Germans are about to be pissed.
Her feelings are dead, though. You murdered those.
No, she was very unpatriotic though. She didn't like the German flag.
Oh.
There was actually a pretty funny video where they were at some parade or ceremony and some dude was waving a little German flag and she was just she like instructed.
Put that down.
She literally just like grabbed it and was like, no.
It's like a reverse Hal Hitler.
Yeah.
She's like, no, we don't like Germany. We just
Yeah.
live here. Yeah.
Elon took the normal one and
Yeah.
left Germany the reverse.
Apparently, their auto industry is in shambles. Man, they're struggling to move Volkswagen.
Well, aren't they still in like an energy crisis because of Russia or something?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
pipeline.
Well, it's not because of Russia. It's because they decided not to do business with Russia
Okay, yeah.
because they wanted to be in the United Nations, and the United Nations said, "Oh, well, Ukraine is like our
The
ally."
UN or the EU?
The UN
Or what's
the
that?
EU is essentially just a husk. It's not like
Mm.
the United Nations is what really controls shit.
Mm.
The EU like should hypothetically be in charge of Europe, but
Yeah.
it's basically not.
What's that collective though that's like encroaching on Russia and Russia?
NATO.
NATO, that's the one. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. It wasn't. They were trying to get in NATO. I don't know. I applied to get into NATO and still waiting. to hear
I
back.
mean, Romania is in NATO.
Yeah?
They only have like
Oh, good for them.
They only put like 700 troops because like if you want to be in NATO, you have to send a certain number of troops to like their NATO training camp.
Yeah.
And basically the Americans run it. The Americans and the Germans run it
Mm,
essentially. And I think the training camp is in Germany. And you got to go and like you have to outfit the troops with like the NATO. It's basically like a scam. Like it's like, oh, if you want to be on the team, you got to buy the jerseys. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So like
NATO
they have to
t-shirts.
buy all that shit. Like the
Okay.
NATO approved helmets, the NATO approved rifles, jackets,
yeah.
equipment. They have to have like a certain number of like vehicles and helicopters and shit. But
Do they have to eat the NATO potato?
the word's still out on that one. Hot NATO.
We're gonna have so many NATO potatoes.
Hot potato. But yeah, Romania only has
It's
like
Nito
700
Mosquito.
troops in NATO, so you can have not that many people. I mean, you could find 700 troops, right?
Sure. Give me like an hour on LinkedIn. You know.
It's a startup. It's very ambitious.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of funding right now. We can't pay you per se right now. But think about the word of mouth. It's an internship.
We're gonna go find 60,000 kids in a stadium. You know it, I know it. We're gonna find them.
But now it could be a money making enterprise. I mean, these like soldiers of fortune make like $3,000 to $5,000 a day easy. So,
Oh wow, okay. You just gotta get shot at.
I mean,
Think about getting shot at.
shoot at. You have to be in a combat zone.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of them actually go to Mexico. I think there's like more armed conflict in Mexico than in the Middle East.
Really?
Yeah, there's like more security work in South America than the
Well,
Middle
let's
East.
scooch on down there.
Right.
Check that out.
Yeah, and that's going to be a interesting turn of events now that Trump put a tariff on Mexico and Canada,
Yeah.
not pulling their weight with like stopping drugs and human trafficking and stuff.
They said they're getting us
Well,
back.
I mean,
though.
forget stopping it. They're supplying all of it. I mean,
Right.
all the drugs come from Mexico, and like pretty much, if you get trafficked, you're gonna go to Mexico at some point. So.
Why was it like Trudeau was responding, but like didn't he step down, or is he still in office? Why did he step down?
Trudeau tried to respond, and his voice cracked.
Yeah.
He was like, "President Joe is a bully. He's a bully. He's mean."
Spot on. Justin Trudeau impression. Justin's here. Get out of Mar-a-Lago. I don't want you here.
Have you seen that? It was a pretty hilarious photo, but basically it was Trump and Trudeau, and Trump is just like straight up, like just full
Got
width,
the nuts right out there.
full width, and Trudeau it's like.
That sounds about right.
He's such a pussy.
Yeah, I did see some article that was like Trudeau has been trying endlessly to get a hold of Trump and he's not responding or something like that. I'm like, that's funny.
Well, there's another funny ass video where Xi Jinping, the president of China, he's walking around big dicking everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. And Trudeau like keeps trying to shake his hand. He's like, and she's like, and Trudeau's like, okay. Because he snubs Trudeau like 3 or 4 times.
We should ask Xi Jinping about that the next time you all sponsor our trip to China.
It's like, Xi, why didn't you acknowledge Justin Trudeau? What
Yeah.
about Justin Trudeau did you think it was okay to ignore? Is it the fact that he's a total beta male that runs
Beta.
an irrelevant ass country?
Ass country.
Yeah, irrelevant ass. Yeah. But they banned handguns in Canada.
And I call them band guns.
Call it Banada.
No, you can't.
You can't defend yourself.
You gotta defend yourself.
So let's take it.
Mixed with Italy now. You can't defend. You know how a Canadian spells Canada?
How's that?
C-A-N-A-D-A.
Oh.
Got him! Loser!
Matt's on fire.
On Fuego.
But I
To
wonder
be
what
clear.
I think we were talking about on one episode. We were saying when Trump takes office, all these people had promised they were going to leave the United States and head to Canada.
Mm.
You think they made it over there? Or?
I don't know. Probably not.
Nah,
They probably didn't make it through the wall up there.
they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't go up there. Well,
Canada
Canada
built
is
the wall.
expensive as fuck. Like the housing crisis in Canada is basically the same as in the United States, but approximately like 5 to 6 times worse. So every problem that we have here, they have there, but just more of it.
Yeah.
Like we have a small French problem here. They got a big French problem. They got the whole of Quebec to deal with.
The small
you know what
French
I mean?
people are down here, the big French people are up there.
Yeah, we just got the French Quarter to worry about here, and like New Orleans, and that's basically it. And
They
up
have
there-
the French 3/4 up there.
Yes, yes.
Got the one
Yes,
down
my
here.
friend. You stumbled upon it correctly.
Big problem. Full problem.
But no, and like Quebec, like the language of Quebec is French. Like all these businesses have like French signs.
I thought it was bilingual, baby.
That's French.
Damn it, Trudeau got his way.
Well, the French are not like the English. The French will insist that you learn French. Like if you go to France, you are going to learn French thoroughly. Like you're not just going to learn a little bit. You know, you're not going to learn how to ask for the bathroom. Like, you're going to learn how to do your taxes in French without a linguist. Like,
Mm.
that's how they do over there.
Est-ce que je peux aller aux toilettes? Can I go to the bathroom?
What's the word for street?
Rue.
Rue? Piss in the rue?
I think it's bisou.
Bisou?
En la rue.
Bisou à la rue, yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah, they'd be pissing in the street over there.
They sure do. In a Frenchy way.
Well, it's funny because obviously, like every Western nation, they're flooded with illegal immigrants right now by design. And it's a bunch of Somalians, basically. And the Somalians are just tearing up France. And they're doing all these news stories are just hilarious. Because in these quaint little, like, French hamlets, you know, they don't lock their doors, they don't lock their cars, they didn't need to do any of that shit. And, like, Somalians were just, like, walking through the neighborhoods and just walking into people's houses. And, give me food. I want food. Let me sleep on your couch. And they're like, what the fuck?
Hey, they can squatters write that shit, right? As long as they don't get thrown out. Spend enough time in there?
Yeah,
That's right.
they should be able
As
to.
we've learned.
Yeah, they're like complaining to the news. They're like, we don't get it. How are they allowed to just walk around into my house?
I asked them to leave. They said no. What are we gonna do?
It's called progress, sweaty.
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 That is you bring up a good point.
I am the president of Canada. Why you call me sweaty?
You don't want to be a regressive individual, do you? The progressive thing to do would be.
Why are you looking at me?
You don't want to be difficult, do you?
what I'm good at.
No. I am, how you say, not difficult, not difficult.
I am bisou on the roof. I am a kissing in the street.
I am, how you say, easy like a Sunday morning. It's funny, they're like one of the top 10 nuclear powers in the world.
Yeah.
They
Hey.
just keep it real low key.
What do the French have to do when their dog takes a poop?
I have no idea.
They have to bag it up. The end of the career right there. I gotta introduce myself a new way next time. Construction worker. Extraordinaire.
We book a flight to France, and it's like, actually, you have been banned from France.
You must go to Canada.
I think Marine Le Pen is the president of France right now.
En
or
français.
Whatever their leader is. I think it's a woman, Marine Le Pen. But she's actually quite conservative, apparently.
What happened to that French treat guy, Macron?
French.
Oh, well, you know, he was with the Rothschilds.
Oh.
Yeah, he's directly related to the Rothschilds.
Hmm. Okay, well, I guess that explains that. I don't know what that means, but that sounds cool.
The Rothschilds are like a banking family, essentially, and they're one of the wealthiest and most pronounced.
Are we starting from scratch here?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess
This
not
is
everyone
like
knows.
Conspiracy theory fundamentals 101.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. If
Follow
you
the
don't-
money.
You haven't heard the Rothschild. Yeah, but apparently, like, Greta Thunberg is a Rothschild.
Thunberg.
Thunberg. Oh, jeez. They just couldn't make her more obnoxious. They had to, had to be Greta Thunberg.
She is grown up.
How dare
She-
you? She's grown up, but she looks the same, which is proof that she's a mutant. Like, she has not.
She hasn't gotten new clothes either. It's the old one.
Yeah.
Is she 18 yet?
Why do you want to know?
All right.
Research purposes.
You want a Bizo on LaRue?
Yeah, she gets paid like $2 million a year for her.
Oh wow.
To be offended, I think.
Yeah.
How
basically.
dare you? How dare you?
I'll make her cry.
I bet you will.
She'll make you cry when the Rothschild Secret Service kneecaps you.
Why is that so funny? Andrew getting kneecapped. Something about that goal.
It's happened to me before.
Oh, they did make me cry. Ah! My American spirit.
I do, in fact, regret saying anything about Greta Thunberg.
And her brand new 18-year-old tits.
Damn it! We hope. Son of a bitch. This
She's
is
gotta
never
be
gonna
over
air.
18.
If Elon
I
hasn't
think she
sued
is.
us, I don't
Yeah.
think Greta's doing anything.
She's
So.
probably in her 20s now. We can
I
talk
thought
about
she
her
played
tits.
11 in Stranger Things. Was that not her?
No, just looked like her.
Oh, okay.
Well, all these celebrities look the same. I touched on this before, but like, there's duplicates of all these celebrities, especially the female ones. Like, they're basically like exactly the same. Like Emma Stone, right? Because there's Emma Stone, right?
Yeah.
Who's in Spider-Man. But there's like 3 other actresses the same age who look basically exactly like her.
Yes.
And like Maggie Gyllenhaal. You remember, like, she played a character in the first Batman, and then they replaced her with another woman in the second Batman. And like a lot of people did not even know. I didn't know. I legitimately thought it was the same woman.
Maggie Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
Yeah, originally it was Katie Holmes.
It was Katie Holmes.
Yeah,
and then
and
they
then
replaced
it was
her.
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
I mean, they
right.
look very, very similar.
I could tell they were different, but
I mean, if you know who they are, I mean,
Yeah.
but like a lot of people just will not, especially in like China,
yeah,
which is where most of our movies are consumed.
yeah.
They can't tell white people apart the way
Yeah.
we can. They're not gonna know. They're gonna think it's the same person.
I think it's just you give them the same haircut, and that kind of does it too.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they use some makeup and some other techniques to make them look similar.
Yeah.
Well, it's an old trick that Indiana Jones sort of started. I think it appeals to this, like, every now and then you can just get a different woman or something like that.
Mm.
Well, why not? I mean, they're irrelevant anyway.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 movies, the woman is totally irrelevant. Like
Super
if you
replaceable.
cut her out, it
Yeah.
would change absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like this
Except
story-
my enjoyment. Got you, ladies.
Well, and see that's the thing. Some people do want to see a female in there. Sometimes the females are entertaining on screen.
Oh, I don't want to see them. I hate looking at them. Does that make it better? You can be in there if you want.
I just want to see dudes.
Yeah,
just
but I
wanna
want to
see-
hear women. I want to hear what they have to say. But I want to look at men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm listening and learning. A woman is talking. Please shut the hell up.
Gentlemen, please.
Excuse me, sir. A woman is talking.
Pardon me. Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Sir, this is Wendy's.
Love them ladies, though. Woo!
I'm a normal guy when an empowered, strengthened woman is speaking.
Not to say that-
I listen and I learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Women should be heard, not seen.
I
you
was
know?
gonna vote for Trump, but then I cast my vote for Kamala on behalf of my girlfriend, so she would have 2 votes and I would have 1, because women have been marginalized for too long in this country.
I voted for your girlfriend on behalf of Kamala.
Oh, you voted for Kamala?
Yeah, no, I voted for your girlfriend
Oh,
on
well-
behalf of Kamala.
Well, she's basically
because I knew Kamala wanted your girlfriend to be the president.
Right.
So,
right. She probably would have done a better job. I mean, she's pretty level-headed.
I wish I could just hear Kamala and not look at her. Just have so much respect for what she says.
I just want to soak it all in. It is hilarious when you actually like, because they compiled, after she lost, they compiled like some of the most just ludicrous things she said, and she said some really ridiculous stuff.
It's just her whole career.
Yeah, but not even though like I personally disagree with it necessarily, just like that's not the right thing to say. Like there was a right thing to say that would have been the same thing, but in the right way, and you just said the wrong. You just said the right thing.
You had a 50-50 shot and missed it every time.
But now she went on like Charlemagne. She kept buying these spots with like black influencers and stuff like that, and it backfired every single time.
Oh,
Yeah.
And her campaign paid for like a fake studio. It was just like a replica of the Hawk Tuah girls studio, right? Did she go on Hawk Tuah? I don't know.
They would.
Hawk Tuah is a
One of those-
podcast now?
Yeah.
She has a podcast and a Bitcoin. Which
And she got in trouble on the Bitcoin.
She rug pulled it pretty hard on purpose. She's like, I'm not gonna rug pull it, y'all. I'm not gonna. So basically, for people who aren't familiar, because I had to look it up, a rug pull is you come out with a coin and you float the coin, and then basically it hits a number, and then you just sell all of your coin.
Yeah.
And because usually these coins have like basically 1 to 5 people who own the majority of the coin, right? So they'll be holding 50%. So only 50% of the coin is for sale. So then at the point that nearly 50% is bought up, they just sell it all, and then the coin crashes in value. And it's just one of those things that like happens over and over and over again. It's like with timeshare, so like the story never changes. Like you hear about a timeshare, you know it's a scam. They convince you it's not a scam. You buy the timeshare. It turns out it was a scam.
Yeah.
It's just like over and over and over again. But like apparently anybody can do it. There's this little shit ass kid. I think he was 12. This little shit ass 12-year-old floated a meme coin of himself.
Yeah.
And basically the community was just humoring him, and they got the value up to like 20K. And he rug pulled and sold it instantly on live. He's like, I can't believe it. 20,000. They're like, don't do it. Don't do it.
And he's like, I'm gonna do it.
He sold it. And then despite him, they pumped the coin's value up to like 100K, just to like show him what a little retard he was.
Yeah, got him.
Yeah.
And then they sold him. Yeah, so
They sold the kid?
they probably did. Well, no, they doxed him.
They bought the...
They immediately doxed
sold him
So
out.
He was on a live stream, and he's like, hey, introducing my coin. We're letting the coin go. And he's on a live stream, and they're like, don't bullshit us, kid. We're going to give you a chance here. Because they're like giving him a chance to be in the crypto community, essentially. And then he rug pulled him, and then like instantly they doxed him in the chat. They're like, here's this little shit's address. Here's his mom and dad. Here's where he goes to school. And then they pumped the coin, and then they dumped it, and yeah.
We shouldn't joke about this. I was doxxed once. It actually really sucked.
Yeah, it's pretty barbaric.
Yeah, everyone, someone went and told everyone that I was on Facebook. And it was awful.
And then they called Facebook, and Facebook's like, yeah, we do have all this guy's information. What did you want to know?
People started messaging me. I was like, where'd you come from?
They poke you. Remember when you used to
talk about that.
Remember when you used to be able to poke people on Facebook?
Oh yeah.
This is where I
I've got
met
friends
Andrew.
that's keeping that alive.
Yeah.
You can't do it anymore, can you?
No, it's still ongoing.
You can
I
still
like to
poke.
think it
I'm
was...
still getting poked by this one dude.
You're crazy blind man. I'm just gonna poke you.
It's his name, Mark Zuckerberg.
I wish.
He just thinks it's hilarious. He logs in every day just to be like...
He's like,
Masculinity is good, huh?
I could
still
write a
owe-
script to do this, but I'm not going to because I treasure this time.
Andrew Potter. I like to think there's one guy that has to keep coding this shit. He's like dying.
Updating the
He's
book.
like, guys, please. And they're like, you shut the fuck up and keep coding.
It's the foundation of meta.
You're an ape and you know it. And I treat you like an ape.
My wife left me. My kids are dying. Shut the fuck up and code. This is why TikTok fucking won.
Did y'all witness Mark Zuckerberg's transformation?
Yeah.
Into a
find it.
man.
Bro, he started taking
Transition.
TRT, got
What?
the skin treatments, got the hair
You got
treatments.
that neck. I know he got that neck now.
He got the skin, he got the
he
neck
got that
tucked
neck.
in.
No, I'm just saying it's a big beefy boy. Joe Rogan was talking about.
Yeah, his neck got
It's
enhanced.
like, you got neck, bro.
The fight between him and Elon Musk was never actually acknowledged in that interview with Joe Rogan. It was he sort of like sidestepped the conflict, you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I got an injury. I don't know if I'm taking it seriously right now, but it is a nice skill set to have in the future." But they just sort of like left it at that.
Well, probably got something to do with Joe and Elon's relationship.
Probably.
But think about how much money it would cost to insure that fight. I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of
$3.5
money. They're
trillion.
both worth billions and billions of dollars. Like, probably like a quarter of the American economy is just those two guys.
Yeah, those
and you
fucking
want to
guys.
let these two out of shape dudes
Right.
go in the ring and start hitting each other.
Oh,
with their
Grease
one
each other
fist?
up and rub around on each other.
I mean,
Speaking of greasing each other up and rubbing dudes down,
Where's this going?
no one was speaking about that.
Just-
No one spoke
No,
about that.
I didn't say that at all. That was purely out of your head.
That's what I'm saying.
Where did you run it back?
That's
It's
what I
not
heard.
on there.
It's like the Japanese here would say 1, hear 10. Like he heard 20. He's like, say more about Greece.
Give him an
There's
inch, he
something I need
takes.
to tell you guys.
Hey,
All right.
you give him an inch, he takes 2 trillionaires greased up and fucking each other. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say any names, but
Right.
I was hanging out with some people.
It was.
and,
Was it a trillionaire?
No,
Oh, okay.
but
Think you know it.
and
They were drinking or whatever, and
Ooh.
they decided to start wrestling.
Should we be talking about that?
And anyways, they were
Those
drinking way too
scandalous.
much. But yeah, one dude got choked out and started snoring.
Oh
he
wow.
he went to like a whole different realm.
Yeah, is he in like a coma now, or
No,
he
he
just like wake the
seems
fuck
good.
up? He just woke the fuck up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's probably not.
He was like out for 7 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a pretty long time to be unconscious, actually, for being choked out. They've caused a lot of damage. I used to do jujitsu, and
You used
You
to
know
do
what?
what jitsu?
I used to do
Yeah, let's talk about that.
jujitsu. And one time I did get choked out by a superior jujitsuer, and I tapped pretty quick, but it was like maybe 1 or 2 seconds I had that choke on me, and it did a lot of damage. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
How much did they look like Mark Zuckerberg, by the way?
He looked reasonably like Mark Zuckerberg. I recall he had dark hair, but
Was this
maybe-
because you wouldn't get back to coding the poke button?
That's probably why.
I like to think.
Like the poke button
Shut up.
doesn't code itself, Bubba.
Shut up. Hang on. Shut up. I got something good coming, okay? I like to think there's a big competition every single fucking year where people compete to see who can poke the most. It's called the Pokeball. We're gonna go get that business venture going.
Sounds like one of those Inuit games, you know? You know how like they have the ear pull?
No, I don't know. Wait, these are Inuit games?
Yeah, the Inuit, they'll play a game where you stand in the cold ass snow. It's like traditional shit. And like I grab your ear, I grab your left ear, you grab, my right ear.
Yeah.
Right? And then we're just holding on. We're holding on. We're holding on in the cold ass snow for as long as we can.
Okay.
And every now and then you might give it a little yank, but and
Maybe a poke?
and it could go on. I guess you could poke them, yeah, but it could go on for hours.
Sounds like a Freemason ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of the Inuits got it.
I wouldn't be surprised because all those like elite white groups do is just like copy like native tribes, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
They just like bastardize their like religion and turn it into some weird little game where they like wear
Touch each
funny
other in an igloo,
costumes.
yeah.
Yeah, and they hang out and go to saunas and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
You guys know how igloos work? Because
I don't.
I can tell you. Here we go.
I have wondered. Please
Tell me.
do tell me.
That was on the agenda for today. I'm
Yeah.
sure of it.
How can you stay warm if you're in a box of ice?
Well,
Makes
because
sense.
because I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
In an igloo, you put a fire.
Okay.
You have a fire in an igloo.
But then the igloo.
But this is what I'm going to tell you, Andrew. You're right there. I'm so proud of you. This is what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. So the fire will melt the inside layer a little bit, turn into water, but the cold from the snow and the outside actually balances it out and sort of refreezes it. It's why part of it it's literally the fire versus the cold outside keeping each other in equilibrium, and it keeps the thing together as opposed to falling apart.
Well, it does make sense because if you think about air conditioning, right, and the
Yeah.
principles of doing that bullshit.
Yeah.
The key principle of refrigeration is that air, anything travels hot to cold. It always goes hot to cold, right? That's why heat rises, and so if you have cold water and you put it out in the sun, the cold water turns warm. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So if you think okay, these walls are cold as shit.
Yeah.
You have a fire in the center.
Yeah.
You would think the heat would just radiate out.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of what you're saying with the melting. It does make sense. I
Yeah,
feel
but
like
it has to be fucking cold outside. If it's warm outside and you got that fucking igloo, you
Yeah,
put a
just
fire in
melt.
that bed where you're fucking done. Okay? I've had 6 family members go that way. Okay?
it's not a joke, okay? This man lost 6 family
That's why
members.
they got rid of the poke button on
Did it collapse on
Facebook.
itself?
I
What?
just wonder how they cut those bricks. Like, how did they, because I was watching The Terror on AMC recently,
Oh.
which is a pretty good short series, and it features the Inuit, and they have the igloos, and I was like, how did they cut those bricks to look so good? Like, how did they do that? I mean, it's pretty impressive. Like, building a dome is no joke.
Mm.
These pussies now, they use a computer program to help them calculate a dome. These guys didn't have no CAD software. They're just free balling a dome of ice. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
I freeballed a couple domes in college. It's still
You free boofed a couple domes in college. That's not the same.
Oh, why? What did I say? I was trying to learn how to code poking on Facebook. Shit went sideways, man. I knew there was one job for me after college if I just went for it. But they won't let Dale go.
You had to put everything on the line, and you couldn't do it, could you?
Now it's just poking at me.
But, there's Adobe huts that they like so much, like South America and shit. That's like the same type of deal. Like, it's just made of fucking mud. But basically, somehow it, like, stays cool.
Mm.
Basically better than, I think, because what they do is they'll have, like, a drain. They'll have, like, a hole on one side of the wall and a hole on the other. And then when you do that, for whatever reason, because heat rises, I don't know, basically only, like, cool air goes through it, and
They call it a mud hut?
it's a mud hut, yeah.
Okay.
It's made of mud, but it's, like, sculpted. And they're great. They stand up to the wind great. They do everything great. They
It
just
lasts
don't.
thousands of years. Yeah.
If
You
they
made
don't get
huts great
rained
again.
on. If they get rained on, then it's kind of, it starts to deteriorate. But it usually doesn't rain, so you're good to go. It's crazy if you get into that, how many ways you could build a house. Like, you don't have to build a house out of, like, a timber frame and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You totally could do it another way, but
Hey, those pigs showed us 3 ways to make a house, you know?
they did. They did. The wolf huffed and puffed and blew him down.
Yeah,
I
some
think
of them
that,
can be blown down.
That story is probably an analogy, right? Because, I mean, England is the wolf and the building codes is them blowing, right? So, you got
I
to
knew
build
we
your
were
house
going
up to
here.
code or it's going to fall down, right?
I poked the bear on that one.
That would be funny, though, if they just declared one day, it's like, all right, no more timber frames. It's got to be like some sort of like plastic, hyper space age material that frames your house. And if you have a house made of timber, you better switch it. And then they just started sending out bulldozers. It's just blasting down
Graphene,
houses.
we're going to have graphene
Yeah, that was the word I was looking for.
houses. When are we getting that bullshit? Weren't they like, that shit's coming, it's going to be on everything. Your
Well,
phone will be bulletproof.
The thing is like, no matter what they build it out of, they're not going to reduce the price. Is the real bullshit. I mean, they're building like these little tiny houses now, and they don't have like, they have like no boards on the outside. They're not like insulating them at all. It's just like a thin little layer and like no insulation. Basically, you can punch like straight through the outside wall inside.
It's like those Japanese paper walls.
Exactly, and they're still charging the same amount. They're like, oh yeah, it's $250,000. It's like, well, what the fuck? What is the point of this? But they
Stumble
can.
home drunk through a wall, and you're like, fuck. That's always my fear.
They have this technology where they could basically like they take. So normally you would have to like send all the boards there, and then you'd have to like cut all the boards and like assemble them and like do all this. But they can like drive out there with like this big ass truck, and it's got like all these boards, and they're like pre-cut, and you just like snap the boards together. It's like a Japanese joinery house, and it should be infinitely cheaper, but of course you
Yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah. All right, think of this, okay? You get a 2x4, okay?
I love it already.
You get a picture of Steven Spielberg, Francis Ford Coppola, James Cameron. That's your board of directors.
I like it.
Next contestant's at the Poke Bowl.
He's here all week. Di Fiore.
I live in the ground. When this ends, I go through the ground into my home. I play an Inuit game down
And
there.
I just feed you snacks.
Yeah. It's always gummy worms. I ain't complaining.
I wouldn't mind living underground. I mean, if you had like, if the roof was like glass, basically. to
What if
let
the
in enough
roof-
light?
The roof
Was on fire.
How did you know?
The roof.
Fucking, we've been on enough
roof
podcasts
is on
together. We're
fire.
starting to mind meld.
We're locking in. We're locking
How
in.
the fuck did he know? No, hobbits live in the ground.
They do.
So, you know,
Well,
if they
there's
can do
a-
it, we can too.
Can't finish the series, dude. When the 5 armies start fighting each other, I'm like, I don't care anymore.
Yes, I know.
The
I
movie-
told you to
Yeah.
stop. You kept going.
I know. Well, I was
Watch The
sick.
Lord of the-
I
just
needed
wa-
something
Okay.
long and.
Bro, in
Something
the-
to make you appreciate being alive, which is all the time you're not watching The Hobbit. Yeah.
Bro, and then they made an extended version, and
Yeah.
all the extended scenes were more battle scenes.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is the point of this?
I didn't even. I'm one of the biggest Lord of the Rings fans you'll ever meet. I didn't even see the extended edition of the Hobbit films. I didn't watch a single one of them once. Like I watched the theatrical ones.
Right.
Not good. The problem with their main problem is that they're too long.
Yeah.
So then you extend them. I'm like, what are we doing here? You know?
That's the style. They had to do it with everything. Twilight 1 and 2. First was Harry Potter 1 and 2. They were the first ones who were big enough to do it. They split the last one into 2.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. They started
Twilight's
that
like,
shit.
oh, we can do that.
Yep.
And then that was a total waste. I mean, the Harry Potter one was already a waste. The first one, nothing happens.
Yeah.
And then,
And yet still it was my favorite of them.
Yeah, 7 Part 1 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like when they're camping and traveling.
Good vibe.
Yeah.
There's a badass vibe
It
about
is a
that,
good vibe,
Part
yeah.
2 was trash. They're flying through the air, which was not in the books anywhere. It was not good.
They fly?
Yeah, but Harry and grabs Voldemort or something, and they start jointly flying through the air
yeah,
together,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it was like, what the hell?
Just unnecessary. Yeah, well, they write in this whole sequence where they battle around Hogwarts and then they end at the same place they started. Whereas I'm pretty sure in the book they just square off right there and then he dies.
Right. Yeah, it was not good.
Well, I mean, they did pretty good with the Harry Potter adaptations. I mean, it's a young adult novel, first of all.
Yeah, I think they're remaking them.
They
putting
are.
them on HBO or something.
And it's going to be awful beyond
Yeah.
any words of measure. And it's
Well,
just
that's
gonna
that.
be an
Now you know.
embarrassment. Yeah, I'm just gonna
It is
say,
agreed, yeah.
I'll save you the effort. It's gonna be unbearable.
so bad. You couldn't even show these to 60,000 kids in a stadium. I tried. They
They would kill themselves. The kids would literally, unless you
Problem solved. That's free will.
You can't fight free will, Jack.
Is that what Rose said to...
As he's dying.
Yeah.
He's dying. She's like, Jack.
Also, I need this door on my own.
An empowered woman is speaking, Jack.
And he's like, he goes, I wish I could just hear you and not see you. I see space for me up there, but you can just have it. I'm sure this will be fine. Fuck! I can't feel anything! Fuck!
My dick.
Being in this water is like being with you, Rose. I can't feel anything.
One day a great woman is going to rise to power, and her name is Kamala.
I'm so angry that I'm seeing you. Why can't you just be voice in the wind? Fucking A. Directed
That
by
might
James
be the
Cameron.
funniest running joke you've ever done.
There we go.
I love the whole hearing you, not seeing you. I don't fully get it, but I love it.
I'm with it, man.
This movie was directed by James Cameron, who's on my board of directors.
Well, James Cameron, I mean, the dude is gifted and brilliant, but you can't overlook the fact that he's a total cuck.
Do you
What?
personally remember anything in Avatar 2?
No.
Actually, I liked Avatar 2.
Really?
And I remember
I
the
didn't
whaling
even.
sequence.
I got hit by a car just to go see Avatar 2.
What?
And I was completely disappointed.
Well,
I don't
yeah.
think it's worth
Yeah.
getting hit by a car.
No,
but
yeah.
I thought it was a good enough movie.
That's going to be our new rating system. Is it worth getting hit by a car to go
yeah,
see this?
some guy ran a stop sign.
Lord of the Rings, yes. Hobbit, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just with my brother, and we were riding bicycles.
He ain't wearing pants now, is he? Because you see the pants off him.
That's right.
Yeah. His mom sewed his pants on him, and then you sewed his pants off him.
Sounds right.
That's how you know a car accident is bad. You see a pedestrian get hit and the shoes are on, he's probably fine.
Yeah.
The shoes come off, this dude's dead.
That's Looney Tunes logic right there, baby.
But you'll just see the shoe go up. You'll see some Converse spinning in the air for a little bit. Pop, 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 pop. Yeah, he's dead. There was 3 spins. He's dead. Don't even bother with the EMTs. Everyone just go about your day.
He landed on his feet, but without shoes.
Don't keep driving. That's a painting. That's not a tunnel.
He was on his way to code poking at Facebook. They threw him out.
My girlfriend the other day was like, "Do you think we're sociopaths?" I was watching a video and it said that sociopaths they need to be in the biggest city they can find, and they're like dead, and they'll see like a person like dying on the street, and they'll just go about their business. And I was like, well, shit, we've all done that.
We're all
Yeah.
fucking sociopaths.
What are we supposed to do?
Right?
It is a weird exchange, for sure.
I've tried to pick them up. They don't like that.
Yeah.
You know?
They're like, don't move him, his back is broken. Like, my brother in Christ, I'm just a man.
Listen, I saw Batman fix his back in like 15 minutes in a hole in the ground, okay?
and then
I
he
got you,
and then
bro.
he climbed a well.
Yeah, climbed a well, got out, and he's like, well...
That movie is when I realized that Nolan is a hack.
Honestly, I get it.
That movie is not a strong showing for Nolan at all.
It's not.
Yeah,
The
at
first
all.
one. We're
But I-
talking
but I
We're
Batman
talking the
Begins,
third
right?
one. We're talking
No, the third
Batman.
one.
Oh,
That's
right.
the third one.
The first
Dark
one
Knight
is
Rises.
decent, maybe a little campy. The second one is hella campy, but it's got some good shit.
It's got fucking Heath Ledger.
And obviously the soundtrack is signature.
Yeah.
But that's what I really hate most about those movies is that with the soundtrack of Dark Knight,
Yeah.
they raped Hollywood music. I
Mm.
mean, that came out in 2008 and it's still raped.
Mm.
You know, we were talking like 15, 17 years later, and they're still just doing a like that was the sound. And I know a lot of people love it. I just can't get behind
We
it.
got that violin. What was it? Hans Zimmer used like a razor on like a piano chord that
No, I'm sure he did.
for the tension with the Joker there.
Well,
That's
his
cool.
studio, his composing studio is like one of the most advanced in the world. And
Yeah.
if you can get a gig working as a producer for him, it's like some of the most money you make as
Yeah.
a working musician. Because, I mean, he just essentially just comes up with some ideas and then his boys get to cooking
Yeah.
on it. And, like, his music is simple, not in like a bad way. It's just
Right.
Right.
Like Dunkirk, like all it was just ticking.
Yeah. Or, like, even his most
Yeah.
famous one is probably Interstellar.
Yeah.
I
That
can't
one was
even
pretty tight.
remember the melody to it, but he just makes
Yeah.
it sound really good through. And he has like this
Cartoon.
infinite riser technique he uses. It was also used in Super Mario 64 on the stairwell. It's a very uncommon music technique, but essentially it allows you to create like an infinite rising sound through. I don't even know. But he did that for Dunkirk, and that's why when he's flying around in the plane, it's just like constantly. It seems to be constantly rising. You know, so.
That's fancy. Yeah, anyway, Dark Knight Rises, not that great, but I'm pretty sure what happened was Nolan, I think he wanted to make 2 of those movies, and he did, and they were like, but he wanted to make Interstellar, and I think they told him, you have to do a 3rd one for us, or we're not going to let you do Interstellar with us. So he basically did it to, like, get that shit over with, you know? So that's why I was like, yeah, he's probably not even happy with what he did, you know? Like, it's done, you know?
Well, I think it was Fox that he was working for, and he produced
Warner Brothers, I think, right?
Was it Warner
Warner
Bros?
Brothers,
Whichever
yeah.
company it was, they produced Tenet with him. They distributed
Yeah.
Tenet, and he had basically taken a reduced salary for that movie in exchange for more cuts of the profit. And then they tried to dick him out of the profit because they basically argued that like the movie did not meet their standards.
Well, they
et
threw it
cetera,
on
et
streaming
cetera.
because it came out during COVID.
That too.
And he was rip shit about it.
Yeah, he was pissed because obviously he's not going to get any of the
Right.
streaming.
I went to the theater to see that one, but still didn't understand it.
It
No.
was, it was okay.
Yeah.
But they eventually, I think it was like last year, they wrote him like a $20 million check to ask him to come back. They're like, here you go, here's for Tenet. We're so sorry about how it turned out. Please come back. Then he was like, he cashed the check and didn't come back.
Fucking alpha move right there.
He's like, I'll cash this because it's mine.
Yeah. Rub his dick on it.
But I'm not working with you. He did the Mr. Krabs. But yeah, it's funny when you think about it. Like to us, it's entertainment, but to them, I mean, they're just trying to get a check. Like,
It's a business.
yeah, it's just what he does for money, and he
Yeah.
wants to be rich, and
Yeah.
you know, $20 million. I mean, it's probably not that much to him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
got
know
the
what his
Odyssey
life is
coming
like.
out. There's rumors that it could be a sequel to Interstellar, which I would fucking love, but unfortunately, it's probably not.
You know, it's funny. I rewatched Interstellar recently,
Yeah.
and I don't remember it being so bad.
Really?
And then
I like it.
I loved it when I first saw it, and then I got on the internet and I was like, does anyone else remember Interstellar being like bad? And the internet was full of it. They're like, oh, I rewatched Interstellar and it's really bad.
I woke up this morning and I asked myself, what is Nick going to shit on today that I adore?
Turns out it was Check's Notes Interstellar by Christopher Nolan.
I have a chalkboard. I'm keeping track.
Yeah.
It's like, what else
Yeah.
does he not like?
10-year-old classic
Well, I
film.
will say I still finished it.
Yeah.
I still finished it, so
I bet you
it
did.
can't be that bad. But I was just like, man, I just remember there's so many more like. I remember the part where like the tidal waves hit. Maybe it's because I saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the Dolby systems in the theaters, the sound systems, it
Yeah.
really change everything.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it's meant to be watched on. But I just remember the music just like hits you like a tidal wave, and the wave comes up, and but you know that tidal wave scene is actually hard to render on a phone. Like if you go and watch it on YouTube on your phone, like your phone literally will struggle.
Well, why are
to,
you
like,
watching that shit on YouTube, man?
that's
Where are you
the
finding
question.
this shit?
That's the question. So yeah, I think it's probably just meant to be experienced in theaters. So maybe that's why I was just not totally.
Are they re-releasing it?
They
I heard
probably
something
will.
about that.
I mean,
Sure.
Alamo, they re-release movies all the time through Alamo. You
Oh,
can
yeah,
catch
that's right.
All kinds of shit over there. You get some wingies, will you?
Wangs!
Really
It'll
late
take
wings.
too long, and Nick will say something. Full on Kevin, that lady.
Bro, you made me sound like such a villain, but she
We're
literally,
back to this.
she was trying to
Throwback.
make it sound like that's how long the wings took. She's like, well, we hand make the wings, so it's known to take this much time. And I was
In a
like,
lab.
that is a goddamn lie. Because I've gotten these wings in 8 minutes before,
All right,
and we're
I'm
at
sorry.
22.
This is still an
Yeah.
open wound. I shouldn't have.
To your credit, I mean,
shouldn't have touched it. I'm
they
sorry.
are fostering Nazis at Alamo Draft House.
What?
Yeah, dude. I mean,
Oh,
during
you're gonna
COVID,
get sued so bad.
I mean, dude. There was some weird Gestapo shit.
What?
I mean,
Like, what kind of?
yeah, like the ads at the beginning of the movie. If you don't wear a mask, we're going to come and fucking kill you.
Oh.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah.
What you're, I thought you were talking about like actual neo-Nazis or something.
Like
Yeah.
if you hear your neighbor say that they're unvaccinated, we're gonna eject
Oh,
them from
yeah.
the theater.
Well, that was a dark, and we're technically still in that era, but that shit was really dark. And those people were straight up like, your neighbors would straight up like turn you in. Like they had a hotline where you could turn in your neighbor,
Yeah.
and you could call.
Now they
like,
just
I
call
don't
it
think
Facebook.
They're observing COVID protocols. Facebook actually had to. It's interesting we were talking about Zuckerberg because he. So you know they had the whole fact checker thing, right? Not fact checker like 2 words, which would imply like a person that checks facts. It was fact checker, 1 word, capital F, capital C, fact checker, and it was a proprietary term, and it essentially just referred to an employee of Meta who would had the power to unilaterally strike
Well,
your
no,
shit.
they weren't even an employee of Meta. They were contracted out to a third party.
Subcontractors,
Yeah.
excuse me, yeah.
Yeah.
And since Trump took office, because Trump was basically like, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, Mark Zuckerberg is a little beta boy bitch.
Wow,
and
yeah.
I'm going to fuck him up.
Wow.
That's basically what he said. And then Zuckerberg dropped an interview. He dropped a video. He's like, moving forward, we've decided to reanalyze our approach. We're removing the fact checker feature, and we're going to move to a community notes feature, the same as X. People on X have really appreciated this feature, and we're confident that Meta users will too. We want to re-embrace our roots of supporting free speech. And people are like, oh, okay, so Trump obviously, like Trump getting in office, like people are saying like, oh, well, you know, it doesn't matter. These billionaires, you know, they win either way. Like, obviously not all of them equally, because this guy straight up had to eat cow and like do a 180. Like he was doing one thing for Biden, and then when Trump got in, he had to do the other thing.
And then he went, also, we're not dropping the poke feature. Don't at me, bro. That's what 90% of our user platform is here for.
For those among our community who mainly employ our platform in order to poke their underage nieces and nephews, you will still be able to do this.
We still have Dale. We won't let him leave. He got hit by a car the last time he stepped out of here.
Dale in Mississippi
And we
is
told him,
crippled,
we told him, do you want that again? So now he's
we said, gosh, that sure was a terrible accident you had. It would be a shame if it happened another time. And another time.
now he lives in the
And another
ground with Matt DiFiore, where they can hear and not see women.
My cheeks
Oh, This is what happens
Oh,
when you
that's
do
good.
drugs, kids.
Well, between Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, who do you guys like better? Because you have to pick a billionaire. And
Oh, I'm going with Musk.
You going
Yeah.
with Musk?
Muskie.
Okay.
I'm a
Musket.
fan.
That's going to be
Yeah.
his new catchphrase. I'm a musket.
Right. You have to respect him like Adolf Hitler. Even
He
if you
demands
agree with-
respect. You must give him
Yeah.
respect. You have to acknowledge it. The power that he wields. I mean, regardless of what else you think about him. I mean, it is impressive that he was able to. I mean, well, they gave him permission for sure, because you know that. So it's legal in the United States to build your own car. It's legal to build your own gun. It's legal to build your own house. Right. There's obviously a million rules and regulations that impact exactly how this happens. So, I mean, there have been many people who would have liked to start a car company, and you just can't because, you got General Motors, you got Chevrolet, you got Nissan. I mean, you have the players, and there's not that many of them. Because, like, Russian automobiles, for instance, which basically are just the same as American automobiles from the 1980s, aka they're better, they don't have all these bullshit computers in them. They'll make a car for like $5,000, but you can't buy them in the United States because they're not safe enough.
Mm-hmm.
They
You know
will
what I mean?
hit Dale. And we'll have poking forever.
So, but it is impressive that he was able to break into the car market and start a whole new car brand. And it's impressive that he sideswiped dealerships. I mean, to be honest, a lot of people were saying, hey, dealerships, they're bullshit. Why can't we cut out dealerships? I don't want to deal with them. You don't buy a Tesla at a dealership. You go straight to Tesla. And
Yeah.
They sell you the...
And you don't buy them at all because you said they're for rich idiots.
I still do think that. I do think
Every time I see one, I think, look at that rich idiot. According to Nick.
That's what I'm saying, though. You get that in your head, and
Max
you're like,
distraction.
now that you
Yeah.
mention it, like,
You're
why?
getting in our heads.
Yeah, he is.
Throughout the week.
I see you when I go to sleep at night. It's because we've been fucking. But anyway,
Oh, yeah.
you're literally in bed
Besides
next to me.
that.
And I'm like, I'm glad I can see you, but I don't want to hear you. This is the optimal form of life. Okay?
Just gonna do an AI.
Well, I'm not an
video,
empowered
okay?
woman. I'm not an
Well,
empowered
that's
woman,
clear.
woman of color, so you probably should not be listening to me.
Replace your voice with Kamala's voice.
Please do.
We still need to get a sassy black woman on the pod at some point. I don't know who.
The house? Oh.
The house? Nah, we need to get one that'll get like triggered, and we can say like things like, America is an open air prison, and then she'll be like, I don't see how that's true. You're free to go to the grocery store, aren't you?
Wait, she's arguing that it's the prison from Dark Knight Rises.
That would be cooler. It would be cooler to be in prison in like a well in Tunisia.
Yeah.
Instead, we're just imprisoned in a zip code because we can't afford to buy our way out of it.
Yeah. Living next to the other zip codes that are better.
So Nick, can I ask you a question, man?
Of course.
So you have a particular like bubble of reality. So with
You see how
You
he
live
goes?
in your own fucking world. Tell us
You
about
live in
that.
your own fucking world.
How'd you get in there?
Of negativity. Just kidding.
Were you looking at
Yeah.
and not listening to women?
Wait,
might have done
How
that.
do you cope, man? I mean,
I'm actually a pretty positive person at the end of the day.
What?
I consider myself a positive person. I have in the past been mired in negativity and some nice people.
Now he's come down with optimism.
I know I am an optimistic.
He's on the optimistic spectrum.
But you have to be able to call shit out. Like you have to be able to acknowledge, like, hey, cars in 1984 had the same functionality as cars now. They cost less. They were easier to repair, and they were just as good. You know what I mean? And now we have these smart cars, and they're insanely expensive. You know, they cost $40,000 to $50,000 easy. They have all these systems. They break. It's hard to get parts because they're not producing enough parts. It's hard to get a mechanic because these cars are harder to fix than they used to be. It's like, you have to be able to acknowledge that some shit is just like not as good as it could be.
You're just a disgruntled former Tesla owner, aren't you? That's where this came from.
I looked at a Tesla once,
what happened?
and I said, wow, that car is hideous.
Where did this all stem?
Where did it stem?
Yeah.
Probably I was riding in a person's Tesla. I worked for this person, and they were a rich, older white man.
Who's Elon Musk?
and it was my employer, and they were extolling the virtues of Teslas.
Okay, no one wants to be in a Tesla hearing about how great a Tesla is.
And
That's
he
fair.
also was like, I really can't believe how far we've come as a society. I mean, it's amazing that, I want something, I go on Amazon, I purchase it, they bring it to my mailbox in as little as 3 hours. It's unbelievable. The economy, it's just amazing to see how far this country has come. And I'm just listening respectfully. I had a great deal of respect for this person. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it is an accomplishment. But that just got my mind turning. It's like, it is an accomplishment, but at the same time, there's tiers of accomplishments, there's realms of accomplishments. Like, I can think of a number of things I would prefer to have rather than the ability to get Viagra delivered to me in under 3 hours.
Isn't that-
No, that's the pinnacle.
Do you think that's it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, 3 hours for Viagra is way too long. That's
It
the
is,
thing. This
yeah.
2 hour, 3 hour delivery window is great for anything except sex toys.
Right.
And
That's gotta
anything
get there
sexually.
right now.
Exactly. 15 seconds before I clicked order. That's when it needs to get there.
Well,
And
eventually,
that's what Elon Musk is working on.
I'm sure he is, because in Star Trek, obviously they have the synthesizer, and you approach it and it creates.
we're gonna 3D
essentially
print everything.
Whatever you want. Yeah, it can create cigarettes for you. It
Yeah.
can create alcohol. It can create food.
If only it could create good podcast hosts.
And it can't do that. It can't do that.
Clearly.
But,
That's where I got you guys. It's on Amazon.
But if they keep going this direction, then yeah, eventually they'll just, because right now, right, they have the cloud fiefs, right, which is essentially like Jeff Bezos is the cloud fief, right? Every fief.
With an F.
F.
Okay.
F-I-E-F.
Okay.
Fief. And we are his subjects, right? And every time we buy or sell something anywhere on the internet, essentially he gets a piece of it, because he's basically price fixed the entire internet. I'm not sure.
So if I order a pizza on the internet, he gets
a slice
it
of the
comes
pie.
with a slice missing.
He gets a slice.
That
He
went to-
eats your pizza.
That went to Jeff Bezos.
He
Thank
drinks
you.
your milkshake.
Now I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, so if you want to be a merchant on Amazon,
And
it's
his
a
house is
tiered
like,
system.
where's all this shit coming from?
There's the general merchant.
General
and
merchant.
They can't put their shit on the Amazon next day delivery. They can't get it. If you want to be a prime item, you have to kiss the ring and you have to pay them money. And actually, that money has like more than doubled. Like the amount that you have to give to them, like goes up every single year. Like every single year, like inflation, it goes up to the point where now it's like literally like almost half. I think and essentially, if they find that you are listing, like say that you're selling a magazine for yourself, but you also are listing that magazine on your website. If you try to list that magazine for less on your website, they will actually revoke your Prime membership. They'll be like, no, you can't sell for less on that website. Like the lowest number that you sell for has to be on our platform. So basically what they've done is instead of lowering the price of everything, they've actually raised the price of everything and made it extremely difficult to go to a third party and find a competitive price, because if they were going to sell it for a competitive price there, they would lose their privileges with Amazon.
This fucking guy. 3
And-
billion IQ over here.
And they pay the Chinese, so the reason that there's so many fake items is that they could stop the Chinese, like they have the technology to stop fake listings, but they just don't, because the fake listings actually benefit them more, because they're like, hey, look, outside of the Prime merchants, look at all, we can't verify what all this shit is. It could be anything, because there's been stories of like, essentially you can do it on purpose. You can buy an item and you will receive another item, right? It's like a way to get around tariffs. But they don't necessarily list it. So there's stories of people like, oh, I tried to buy slippers and I got scorpion venom from Afghanistan, because they're just not
I
verifying
prefer
it.
scorpion venom, but
I would take the scorpion venom.
yeah.
But
Can we take that section and just slow fade cut through it and then have all those numbers and shit going everywhere? I think that'd be awesome for this.
so you pay attention to this algorithm, you'll
Yeah.
see how Jeff Bezos,
Jeff Bezos, and he gets 1/8 of your pizza.
he owns your testicles. Every time you ejaculate,
Testicles.
1/8 of it goes to Jeff Bezos. So yeah,
When you buy a Tesla, you
have
sign
the
a
cloud
document.
Fiefs. But eventually, when they're tired of sending you things, because the whole point of that empire is to be able to lock you in your home and you won't die, right? And that's what COVID was the test run for. This would get us demonetized if we were monetized. COVID was a test run for seeing, can you imprison the entire population even more? We already essentially have them imprisoned to one zip code.
Here we go.
Could you imprison them within their own walls and keep them alive? And that was the test. And it turns out, yes, you can. And yes, many of them will voluntarily not only agree to it, they'll they'll switch their own brains to your side, and they'll turn on their neighbors. So that's what it's all about. And when they're eventually they'll have you buying it. They'll have rich people buy it. They're like, look, it's $10,000 for the printer, and then you're paying an annual subscription to your fief, Jeff Bezos or whoever it is. Maybe it'll be Musk. But you can print whatever you want. You don't have to deliver it. It will just make it. We'll deliver you the cartridges when it's time to re-up. And, because you don't own the machine. You pay for the machine, but you don't own it. They own it. And they'll come to your house and service it whether you want them to or not. And it'll start out with the rich people buying it, because that's always how it starts out. Those features always start with rich people voluntarily buying it, like airbags, cruise control, blinkers, self-driving. It always starts with rich people. And then it goes down the line.
Why do we talk so much about cars on this fucking podcast?
The world.
Because it's very important to the American mythos.
Yeah.
The car is like a central part
Okay.
of the American character.
I'll believe you.
This is the fabric of our country.
Fucked
And,
up
like,
Dale, I know that.
It's in all of their mentalities. Like, all the governments are thinking constantly about cars, planes. You know what I mean? They don't even fucking like trains. They would get rid of trains. If they
Planes,
didn't have to move
brains,
oil
and
on them.
automobiles. That's what they want. That's what they're trying to get into.
So eventually they'll just give it to you whether you want it or not. They'll be like, look, it's in your house.
It's up your butt.
We're giving you a $10,000 line of credit, whether you want it or not. This is yours. You bought it, and now you're gonna have to keep this payment going, and you'll get this shit. And if you don't, then you'll just die. This is the mark of the beast that they're talking about.
This place is a fucking open air prison.
To animate your point, back to the COVID idea, yeah, the World Economic Forum, I think, mentioned that before COVID even started, all you have to do is give a financial incentive, and then the people will follow shortly after.
Absolutely.
So,
And by
So it proves
a
your
financial incentive, they mean like
It
incentive not to go broke. Because that's basically where you're at right now. Is like, you want a house, you want a car, you want to be able to go to the grocery store, you want to be able to have your own internet and have your own shit. Well, you can't be broke. If you go completely broke, you lose all of that. You don't have to be rich, but you cannot be broke. And you see the people that go broke, where are they at? They're on the streets. You know what I mean? And somehow they're also all addicted to
I made it.
crack cocaine.
I never got vaccinated, and I have a backyard for 2 more months.
Well, hey, yeah. That's a fist bump right there.
Yeah.
But it's funny, then they did turn around and they started looking for unvaccinated people. They specifically were asking for, because like some of these important positions, mysteriously now they want unvaccinated people, like pilots, the
Isn't that
airlines
funny?
were putting it out.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we really need unvaccinated pilots.
Yeah.
It's like, well, gee, golly gosh, gee willikers, why?
And then look what happened in D.C.
And what happened in
Oh.
D.C.?
The mid-air collision there.
Oh,
Hear
did
about
that happen
that?
recently?
Yeah, that was like a.
Oh,
maybe
wow,
a
you
week
haven't
ago.
heard
You
of
didn't
this?
know about this?
But I literally have not. I uninstalled Google Chrome.
He knows all the shit that he knows, but like current groundbreaking news,
Yeah, like
basically.
60 people
Yeah,
are dead.
it was an American Airlines, I think it was, flight, and a Black Hawk Army helicopter collided over the Potomac in D.C., and everyone died.
I'm sure it was a total accident. But that shouldn't surprise
How it
anyone, because, I
seems.
mean, are you familiar with the Boeing? I mean, we shouldn't talk too much about Boeing, because they will kill us.
Oh, shit, okay.
But there was a plane company whose name may or may not have started with a B. They may or may not basically be the United States Air Force.
It might rhyme with blowing.
It might rhyme with
And they are blowing.
They're blowing your brains
They're
out.
blowing it.
But they haven't produced a plane that has worked in like decades.
Yep.
They supplied the Air Force with new refueling aircraft, and basically by the time they got on the tarmac, the Air Force was like, "Yeah, it's not going to be able to do the mission that we want."
If they make planes that don't fly, they're still a great automaker. You
Right.
know?
But they still
that's-
drive.
You just
Yeah.
have a car. A
Exactly.
wide-ass fucking car.
Big fancy car
With dranks on it.
with 2 engines. It takes Jet A.
Dranks.
But yeah, they had the Lion Air crash. There was like 2 African pilots, and they're flying a Boeing 737 MAX. And it was just a piece of trash, and the computer malfunctioned, and it kept causing the nose to go up. And they hadn't computerized the manuals, because you can computerize the manuals for your aircraft, and that way then they can just like look it up on an iPad. But there's like a bunch of shit you have to do with the FAA, so they hadn't done that because they just didn't want to spend the money. So then these African pilots are flipping through these massive tomes, trying to figure out why the nose keeps going up, and they can't figure out why, and eventually everyone dies. You know?
Yikes.
So it's like this shit is actually really common. Like they used to say, oh, flying, it's statistically way safer. venture that statistic has been significantly skewed.
Well,
within the last 10
this
years.
is the crazy thing. I think it was like 3 days or something after that plane crash. There was another plane crash that crashed into somewhere in Philly, actually.
Jeez.
There was I think 6 people on board. This kid was literally coming. They were flying it out of the hospital to like go home or whatever. This kid with his mom. And then there was like 4 other people on board this flight, whatever. But the thing went down and crashed into like a house or some building in Philly, like a few days after that happened.
Shit.
So yeah, 2 plane crashes, like pretty much back to back.
I just want to know who's on board these
Yeah.
aircrafts.
Right.
Because if you guys remember the Malaysian aircraft, they were all like Chinese scientists that were researching
Well, then there was the Kobe
quantum
helicopter crash.
entanglement and
Oh,
stuff, you know?
yeah. He died. He big died.
Yeah.
Well, helicopters are statistically pretty unsafe. But I would say it's pretty mysterious that a helicopter would be in the way. Again, you have to have a basic understanding of how, like, these flight systems work. Like, why would a helicopter be at that altitude, at that range?
So apparently, I read this article. This pilot was talking about how there's 2 airports that are like very dangerous to get into on the East Coast or out of or whatever it is, and one of them's Dulles, which is where I think it was coming out of, and one is LaGuardia. And they say that you have to go in at like low altitude and like it's very tight, like what you can hit in order to be safe. So apparently that's one of the places where this is more likely to happen.
But still, you got to understand that when they're coming in for like for a long time, like for at least 30 minutes before they land, they're in direct communication with the air traffic controller.
Yeah.
They're monitoring them on radar. They're monitoring the fly-by-wire. They're telling them exactly what to do. Every aircraft that's anywhere near an airport, they're talking to an aircraft controller in there, and he is actually telling them exactly what to do. And the pilot at that point is just following their commands. They're not like, they are in command of that craft, but like their command means that they follow the command of this guy, right? So how is that helicopter anywhere near an airport?
Yeah.
And he's directly in line with this, and they're not telling him, hey, you got to move your shit.
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
one of the DEI employees was basically asked to go home early, right? So
I don't know.
they were short a dude.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I did see the other thing that I think it was this pilot was talking about is how the Army helicopter they probably would have had night vision goggles, and apparently the field of view is very limited. So they were like, most likely this Black Hawk helicopter, they never even saw what hit them. You know, they were getting. I think I forget who. Maybe they were saying the plane pilots were being told by air control, like, "Oh yeah, there's a thing, and you guys got to watch out or whatever." But I think the
Well,
helicopter.
you can't
might
tell
have
them to
seen
watch
them.
out because, like I said, for a long time, they have to be aligned perfectly with the compass for like
Yeah.
a long time as they come in. Like,
Yeah.
if they move at all, they have to completely go around.
Right.
You know. So,
Yeah.
and again, like, if those helicopters are taken off, you can literally take one of those speedometer devices. Right, it's a radar device, and you point it at it, and like you'll see the chaffs go off. Like their radars will detect when a radar is on them. Like, you know what I mean? They'll think, oh, someone's trying to lock on, and they'll pop chaff. Which, don't ask me how I know, but it's a fact. Like, if you try to measure their plane, they'll take evasive maneuvers because they think a radar's trying to lock them.
I've been popping chaff for years.
I love to pop a chaff. Yeah, but again, it's the same thing that I tell people with, you know, this incident that may have happened on September in 2001. It's like, how in the world do you think this plane was so off course for so long, and nobody called the plane and said, hey, my brother in Christ, you're way off course?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody tried to hail the plane. Like, it just went dead. Like, come on.
I don't know. I wasn't there. I was having snack time when that happened. So don't look at me.
Same.
Yeah, with this new crash that just happened earlier this week, I really want to see the manifest.
Right. Who was on
The
it?
Philly one or the DC one?
The DC one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
Let's get out ahead of it and
Yeah.
let's say it never happened. We'll be the first one.
right.
Yeah.
Let's just say the District of Columbia doesn't exist.
Neither does the president.
Right. Isn't that funny though that like the District of Columbia is like not officially part of the United States, but it's like somehow like where all the leaders of the United States live, and it's like technically a separate country.
It's like the fucking Vatican.
yeah. It's pretty strange.
They can do whatever
It
they
is.
want in there.
But there's like 3 such. Somebody told me that there's basically 3 such places like that in the world. There's the District of Columbia, there's the Vatican, and there's one other which is slipping my mind. But there's essentially like 3 areas that are like
Canada.
that. Not Canada.
It's surrounded by the United States.
Yeah, it is. But I'm talking about like a separate like territory within a territory, like sandwiched in there. And
It's
those
Justin
basically-
Trudeau's
Those
house.
like 3 shadow states like basically run like the whole world. You know what I mean? Because like the Vatican, that's like its own zip code, its own city. They've got their own police. They've got like they don't pay taxes. It's like a whole different thing over there. But it's like right there in Rome, isn't it?
So how can we start one of those?
That's the question, isn't it? How do you get permission to be smack dab in the middle of a country
Peter
but
Griffin
not be
tried to
in
do
that
that,
country?
right? At one point.
Talking about the guy from Family Guy?
Yeah. He had his own.
You know he's not real, right? That's
Peter
Who's
Griffin's
to say
not
what is
real.
real?
He can't hurt you.
New conspiracy theory: Peter Griffin is not real.
I thought we were going on Looney Tunes logic here, this episode.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is this a joke to you?
Yeah.
Stop laughing at everything we say. We're trying to be serious. That poke button, legit.
Uncle Randy. Beep, 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 beep.
What do we think about me tackling the camera to end every episode? Right? End. Next week we never address it. I'm confident.